The moment you think, "I need to be at peace," something subtle but irreversible happens inside your mind. Before that thought, there was just experience, sensations, sounds, a body sitting, breathing, existing without commentary. Nothing was labeled as wrong yet. Nothing needed to be fixed. But the instant that sentence appears, "I need to be at peace," the present moment is quietly split in two. There is now this moment, which suddenly feels insufficient, noisy, unfinished. And there is an imagined future moment, somewhere ahead, where everything finally settles, where the mind is quiet, where you are doing it right. That gap between now and then is not empty. That gap is where the monkey wakes up. You might not notice it at first. It doesn't announce itself loudly. It shows up as a barely detectable shift in the body, a slight leaning forward, as if something needs to be reached, a tightening behind the eyes, like focus being sharpened into effort, a subtle sense that something important has just been assigned. Because to the mind, that thought is not philosophy. It is a task. And when a task appears, Wukong does exactly what he was trained to do. He scans, he checks, he evaluates. He starts asking, "Am I peaceful yet?" Breath becomes an object to monitor. Silence becomes a metric to measure. Thoughts are no longer just thoughts drifting through awareness. They turn into signals, evidence, proof that the task is either succeeding or failing. A sound in the room is no longer just a sound. It is an interruption. A thought about later is no longer neutral. It is a problem. And with every check, every evaluation, the body tightens a little more. The jaw sets. The chest subtly braces. Attention narrows, not into presence, but into control. This is the trap. Not because the desire for peace is wrong, not because you are doing something foolish, but because the moment peace becomes a goal, the present moment becomes an obstacle. And obstacles are exactly what the monkey was born to fight. He is not disobedient. He is not broken. He is loyal. You asked him to find peace, so he started working. And once Wukong is at work, stillness is no longer possible. Because stillness to him looks exactly like failure. The problem is not that the mind is restless. The problem is that the mind is doing exactly what you asked it to do. Most people believe the monkey in their head is rebellious, untrained, out of control, something that needs discipline, suppression, or constant correction. But that misunderstanding alone keeps the struggle alive. Wukong doesn't jump because he wants to ruin your meditation. He jumps because he thinks he is helping. When you tell yourself, "I should be calmer," or "I need to stop thinking," or "Why can't I just relax like other people?" those are not harmless thoughts. To the monkey, they are instructions, orders handed down from the throne, and he takes orders seriously. He starts patrolling your inner world, searching for threats to peace. He checks the breath. Is it smooth enough? He checks the mind. Too many thoughts. He checks the body. Why is there tension here? He checks the clock. How long has this been going on? Every check carries the same underlying assumption. Something is wrong. so the monkey keeps moving. This is why people lie awake at night, exhausted, begging their minds to shut off. Sleep has been turned into a project, a performance, a finish line. And the more important sleep becomes, the more alert the system grows. Not because the body is resisting, because the task is still active. You can feel this loyalty in the body if you pay attention. The way the shoulders subtly lift, ready to act. The way attention tightens around the breath, squeezing instead of resting. The way awareness leans forward, hunting for results. Peace, ironically, becomes a high-pressure environment. Thoughts stop being visitors and turn into suspects. Each one is interrogated.
Why are you here? You shouldn't be here. Go away. But to the monkey, that only confirms the urgency of the mission. The more resistance he detects, the more necessary his work feels. This is the cruel misunderstanding at the heart of the struggle. You think you are trying to escape the noise, but from the inside, your mind experiences it as being recruited into a rescue operation. And no loyal soldier rests while the mission is still active. That is why effort does not calm the mind, it mobilizes it. The monkey is not the enemy. He is the most obedient part of you. There is a moment when effort quietly turns into a trap. It usually happens right after you notice a thought and decide it shouldn't be there. At first, it feels reasonable, even responsible. You think, I see the thought, good, now let's let it go. But the moment you try to push it away, something subtle changes. The body tightens, attention narrows, awareness stops resting and starts managing. This is the golden band beginning to tighten. In the story, the band was not meant to torture Wukong. It was meant to control him, to keep him aligned with a higher ideal. And every time he resisted, it tightened automatically. Your mind works the same way. The moment you apply effort to remove a thought, the brain interprets that thought as important, as dangerous, as something requiring resources. Thoughts are no longer just thoughts. They become signals, evidence that something is wrong, evidence that peace has not arrived yet. So the monitoring increases. Now you're not just aware of thoughts, you're watching whether you're watching correctly. You're checking if the letting go is working. You're measuring progress against an invisible standard of how calm you think you should be by now. And with each check, the band tightens a little more. This is why people report that meditation makes them more anxious at first. Not because awareness creates anxiety, because effort turns awareness into surveillance. The monkey feels the pressure immediately. More rules, more expectations, more consequences for failing. So he accelerates, he scans faster, he jumps quicker, he reacts more sharply. He tries harder to deliver the outcome you demanded, even as the environment becomes more hostile. And from the outside, it looks like the mind is out of control. But from the inside, it feels like urgency. A system that believes something crucial is at stake cannot relax. It cannot soften. It cannot stop moving. That would be irresponsible. This is the part most teachings skip. They tell you to be present, but they don't show you how presence turns into pressure when mixed with effort. They tell you to observe, but not how observation becomes control when the goal is peace. So the band keeps tightening, not because you are doing it wrong, but because you are doing it sincerely, trying to be free. And the monkey keeps jumping, not because he
is wild, but because he is trapped inside a mission that never ends. There is no dramatic moment when the monkey is defeated, no victory, no silence falling from the sky. What actually happens is much quieter than people expect. At some point, usually without ceremony, you notice something small. A thought appears, the familiar one. I want this to stop. I want peace. And for the first time, you don't obey it. Not because you resist it, not because you replace it with something better, but because you recognize it for what it is, a task assignment. You feel it land in the body the same way as before, the slight forward lean, the tightening behind the eyes, the subtle readiness to fix, adjust, improve. But this time, you don't move. You don't follow the instruction. You don't turn awareness into effort. You don't tighten the band. You simply notice the moment the order is issued, and something unexpected happens. Without a mission, the monkey hesitates. There is a pause, not peace, just a pause. No one is chasing him. No one is demanding results. No one is checking whether he is calm enough yet. So he stands there, alert at first, still ready to jump, then slower, then still. Not because he has been trained, not because he understands enlightenment, but because there is nothing left to do. This is the part that confuses people. Peace does not arrive as a feeling. It arrives as the absence of urgency, the absence of the sense that this moment must be different before you're allowed to rest. The room doesn't change. The sounds don't disappear. Thoughts may still pass through, but the internal posture softens. The body no longer leans forward into the next second. Attention stops gripping experience like a tool. Awareness becomes wide again, unforced, unassigned. And in that openness, the monkey is still there, but he is no longer working for you. This is why peace never comes when you look for it. Looking is a job. Jobs require effort. Effort tightens the band. Peace only appears when the job is quietly cancelled, not solved, not completed, just no longer necessary. So the next time the thought appears, I want peace, don't argue with it. Don't follow it either. Just watch what happens to the monkey when you stop giving him tasks. And notice this. The stillness you were searching for was never something you had to create. It was what remained when you stopped asking the mind to be somewhere else.